Welcome to Make Something. I'm David Picciuto. Today I'm going to show you one of the ways that I draw up and design my projects, and we're going to make a crap ton of these candy dishes. And today's video is brought to us by Squarespace. Check it. Today we are going to design and make a candy dish, and this is going to be a Christmas present for my family. Everybody in my family gets the same gift. We're going to start with a couple of parameters that I might want to change down the road. I know that I want it to be around 6 inches wide. I definitely want it to be a polygon, either 5 or 6 sides. And then the depth of it, I want it to go as deep as I can get a router bit in there. So maybe 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. The deeper it goes, the more candy we can get into the dish. So here is what I'm thinking. So let's say it is 5 sides. So then there would be 5 compartments in here. So here's the thing, this top-down sketch might not mean anything to you. This might not make any sense to you, but it does to me, and that's what's important here. I have the basic parameters, I have the basic idea, and we're going to draw this up in Fusion 360. The amazing thing about Fusion 360 is you can start with an idea and you don't have to have your final dimensions. These are things that you can change at any time along the way, and it repopulates the whole drawing. It's mind-blowing. It can be overwhelming, and this is not a beginner tutorial. This is I'm just showing you how I would make this knowing what I know. There are lots of great tutorials online. My buddy Bob Claggett has a great tutorial over on his website. It's just for people like you and me, and I highly suggest checking that out. So let's head on over to let's bring the computer over here and get started. First thing I want to do here in Fusion 360 is drop some parameters. So we're going to hit our parameter button, and first one we're going to do is width. Let's say we want the width to be 5 inches. We can change this later on. Hit OK. Then we're going to do another one for height, and for now let's say that is 1 inch. And then we need to do a wall thickness, and let's say that's a 1/2 inch. Again, we can change all of these later if we want to. And then one more for number of sides. And that one does not need a unit. And for now we'll say 5. Whoops, 5. Hit OK. Now we need to create a sketch, and we're going to select this plane right here. We're going to create a polygon, and you would think, oh, I would just use the polygon tool here in Fusion 360. The problem with that tool is you can't change the number of sides later down the road. So to get around that, we're actually going to create a circle, and we're just going to draw a portion of that pie. We'll draw a circle here, and the width is going to be our parameter that we set earlier. So we'll just hit width for that. And now we need to draw a triangle in that circle. So I'm going to hit L for line, and just any size triangle that you want. And then we'll connect those two lines. So now we'll hit D for dimension. We're going to select this line and select this line, and then we're going to type in 360, which is the degree of a circle, divided by the number of sides. And we set that variable in our parameters, and that is going to change it to 72 degrees. I need to extend this triangle out a little bit for our outside wall. So I'm going to hit L for line. I'm going to come out here, from here to here, and then connect those two. And then I'm going to use the parallel constraint and make these two lines parallel. And then I'm going to hit D for dimension, select these two, and give that a dimension of wall thickness. There we go. So now we have 1 of 5 sides, and within that I want to create a pocket that we're going to cut out. So now we're going to draw one more triangle using the line tool, and just randomly pick a couple of points. And then I can use our parallel constraint to make these two lines parallel, and then these two lines parallel, and then hit D for dimension, and dimension those two to wall thickness, but half, so divided by 2. And then again for these two, wall thickness divided by 2. I want to round over these corners here so they are not so sharp, so I'm going to create a fillet between this one and this one, 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 and I want that fillet to be 1/8 of an inch. And now I'm going to make our circle a construction line. So I'm gonna hit X for that. Everything is connected and looking good. So I wanna select this and select this. I'm gonna hit E for extrude, and I'm gonna go down. And I wanna go down negative height and hit enter. There we go. I'm gonna turn this sketch back on so I can see it, select that, and now I can hit E for extrude and pull down, and I wanna go negative height, but that would go all the way through. So I'm gonna add our wall thickness. Click on that. We'll hit OK. Now I can create a pattern. So I'm gonna go circular pattern, and I want to select that body, and then I want it to rotate around that right there. And we can choose our number of sides. It defaulted to 5, which is actually the number of sides that we want, but we want to be able to change that in the future. So we're going to change that to our parameter of sides. We'll hit OK. This is actually not the number of sides and the size that I want. And this is the really cool thing about Fusion 360. So if I go back into our parameters here, I want the width to be 6 inches, and it automatically updates that. I want the height to be 1.5 inches, and it automatically updates that. The wall thickness, that is too thick. So we're going to go 0.25. That is looking much better. And we can change this number of sides to anything now. We could make it 12 sides, and look at that, but we actually want it to be 6 sides. There we go. This is not ready. There's a couple things that I want to change. I want to create a rounded bottom. So if I go back over to before I made that pattern, I can choose the fillet tool, and I can select that line, and I can make that whatever I want. I know I want it to be 0.25. And then if I move this back over to past where we made a pattern, it updates all of them. I like the wall thickness for the inside, but I don't like the wall thickness for the outside. I want that to be a little bit beefier. So I can go back and edit our sketch, and I can change this to wall thickness times 1.5. And that updates the sketch. And if I hit finish sketch, it updates the whole thing. This is looking much better. One last thing I need to do is I need to create a lip so it can hold a lid here. I am going to go back to before we created that pattern, and I want to create a sketch on that guy right there. Now I need to project all of those lines up onto the sketch as a template here. I'm gonna hit L for line, and then I'm gonna draw a line here, draw a line here, and then connect all of that. I need to make a parallel constraint between this line, and then I'm gonna hit D for dimension, and I'm gonna dimension that to wall thickness times 0.75. I like that. So now I'm gonna select this, I'm gonna hit E for extrude, and I'm going to pull that down so it cuts away 3/16. Whoops, we gotta go -3/16. We'll hit OK, and then I can move this playhead to past our pattern, and look at that. That is looking good. I am going to make a lid for this, but we're gonna do that later in the video. So I have my wood milled and cut. I'm making a whole bunch of these. This is what my family is getting for Christmas. I'm only going to cut one at a time. That way I can inspect each one. This whole operation takes like an hour, and I want to make sure that my end mill is staying cool. If this was only going to take a few minutes for each one, of course I would do this all at one time. So that was all done with a 1/4 inch straight bit, and that left a stair step where that bottom fillet is in the pockets. So now I'm going to do a finishing pass with a ball nose bit that's going to smooth that out. This operation only takes a couple minutes. So we are back here at the computer and we're going to make the lid. The lid is going to be made out of 2 pieces that are going to get glued together. That first piece is going to fit inside the lid, so let's draw that up. So we have our drawing here. Let's create a sketch on this guy right here, and we will project that previous sketch onto this new one, and then I'm going to hit L for line and redraw this triangle and zoom in here, and then draw a parallel line from here to here, and then I'm going to dimension these 2 lines to 1 millimeter. I want this to be slightly smaller so there's a little bit of play and the lid will fit in there. So now I'll hit escape and I'm going to select this and this, hit E for extrude, pull that up. I want to change this operation to new body, and I want to pull that up 3/16. Hit OK, and now I want to create a pattern. I'm going to select that body, and then it's going to rotate around that, and we're going to change the quantity to our parameter of sides. We'll hit OK. So that is that piece right there. And again, I should be able to update this, and it updates along with that. So let's change that back to 6. I'm gonna go cut that out, and then we're gonna come right back to draw the top portion of this lid. We have the bottom of that lid cut, which fits perfectly into that lip that we cut earlier. So now we need to make the top part of this lid, which has this really cool texture on there. Not sure if this is showing up on camera. It'll definitely come through a little bit more once we get finished on that. But before I show you how to draw this up, I'd like to tell you about today's sponsor, and that is Squarespace. If you're watching this video and you're subscribed to my channel, that means you probably like making things, and you can sell those things on your Squarespace site. I've been using Squarespace for a long time. You can sell both digital and physical items. Let's say you design this box, you could sell the digital file to this and have it as a downloadable item on your Squarespace site. Or let's say you make the box, you could sell physical items on your Squarespace site as well. Another great thing about Squarespace is you can do a lot of cool things without ever diving into the code, the back end, the cloud, or any of that stuff. You can bring in all your social media feeds so everything is in one central place. You can have a contact form. Like I mentioned earlier, you can sell things. And one of the cool ways that I use Squarespace is I use their email campaigns, and I can pull content directly from my website into an email. Super easy, it's super convenient. It makes my life simple and my business easy to run. If you go to squarespace.com, you sign up for an account. You don't have to pay anything up front. You can play around, you can see how easy it is to use. You can build your entire website. And when you are ready to launch, you go to squarespace.com/makesomething for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. I'm just a one-person business. I don't have a lot of time to spend on building and making and designing a website, and that's why I use Squarespace. So again, squarespace.com, and when you're ready to launch, visit squarespace.com/makesomething for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you, Squarespace, for making this video possible. Now let's get back to this candy dish and draw up the lid. And now the final piece we need to draw is the top portion of this lid, and we're gonna add a cool texture to that. So we're gonna create another sketch here on top, and I want to project that triangle there. Hit OK, hit L for line, and we're going to draw one more large triangle. Make sure that is parallel to that, and then we're going to dimension that and that to 0.25. This is how far the lid is going to stick out. And so now I'll hit escape. I can select all of these, hit extrude, and I'm gonna pull up, and I don't wanna join. I wanna create a new body here, and I'm gonna go up 3/16. Low battery. Get out of here with that. So we're gonna go 3/16. Now we're on a time limit. And hit OK. Now I'm going to draw one more sketch on top of that. And this is just purely decorative. It doesn't really matter where it goes, but I do want that line parallel with that. So we'll select these two. There we go. And I'm gonna hit finish sketch, and then I'm gonna turn the visibility of that sketch on. I'm gonna select that right there. I'm gonna hit E for extrude, and I'm gonna pull up another 3/16. And then I'm going to turn this 80 degrees. Hit OK. It's okay to join. And then that right there, I'm gonna do the same thing. Gonna pull up 3/16. And where's my little way out here? And we're gonna go 80 degrees. We'll hit OK. Zoom back in here. And then once again, we're gonna create a pattern, that body right there, and it's going to rotate around that right there. Quantity, we're gonna go back to our parameter of sides, right there, hit OK. That is our box right there. Let's go cut this out on the CNC and start assembling everything. I greatly underestimated how long it would take to make 13 of these candy dishes. I didn't mill up all the wood at the same time, so that took a lot longer. And then the tool bit changes on the Stepcraft, going from the straight end mill to the ball nose, back to the straight end mill to the tapered finishing bit, and then moving on to the next box, took a lot of time. Of course, I could get a tool changer for the Stepcraft. Maybe someday I will. I don't know how much I would use it since I don't do a lot of projects like this, but we'll see. And then I put a chamfer along the bottom of everything over at the router table. And then, oh my goodness, the sanding took forever. And basically, I ran out of time. I had to tell myself to give up, let go. And my family members are going to love this no matter how well or not well they are sanded. It was just one of those situations where I had to say, don't let perfection get in the way of progress. And so normally I have very high sanding standards, but you can see some of the machine marks in there and on the inside. But ran out of time. What can you do? Still made with love, but it just took forever. So the outside, I used a spray lacquer, and the reason I used the spray lacquer is it dries really fast. And since this is going to be a candy dish, why not give it a candy coating? And then on the inside, since candy is going to touch it, I used the Total Boat Food Safe finish. So it's got two different finishes, one for the inside and one for the outside. Overall, it is a really, really cool project. I'm happy with it. If you have never seen Fusion 360 before, don't let this video overwhelm you. This was not a beginner's course in Fusion 360. My podcast mate, Bob Claggett, has an excellent, it's just absolutely fantastic tutorial on getting started with Fusion 360, and I highly suggest starting there. And of course, there's always free tutorials on Fusion's website and then a bunch on YouTube, but it's just trying to figure out which video do I watch first, where do I start, do I need to know this? Because there's as a woodworker using Fusion 360, I don't need to know everything about it. I just need to know what I need to know. So Bob's course pretty much is for somebody like me, a woodworker and a maker. So whether you're using a CNC or whether you're using traditional woodworking tools, it's a great course. So please go check it out. There'll be a link down below. I hope a lot of you are like me and you never want to stop learning. I'm always open to new tools, new techniques, new finishes, new software. And that, I think it just makes me a more rounded maker. So whether you have a CNC or not, some of these techniques and some of the things that you saw in here is going to translate over into other tools as well. And if this video performs well, I might do some more tutorials on Fusion 360. The reason I use Fusion 360 and people like Bob Clagett use 360 is because you can change things, you can change parameters down the road without having to redesign the whole thing. You just have to build out your files correctly. And in his course, I think he's building a bookcase. And you know, you can change the depth, you can change the amount of shelves, you can change the height, all with just changing a single parameter, and it populates the whole thing all at one time. So I hope everybody has or had a great holiday. I've actually got 2 more videos coming out in December yet. And one of those videos is a profile on my 99-year-old grandfather who still works in his wood shop every single day. We did this a few years ago and he wanted to make an update video and I could not pass on that opportunity. So that video is coming out on Christmas Day. So look forward to that. I just got the chills right now just mentioning this video because my grandfather means so much to me and he is such an inspiration, and I hope you find inspiration in him as well. That is enough talking. We'll see you next time with a new video. As always, be safe, have fun, stay passionate, and make something of yourself. Or don't, doesn't matter.